Hi, I'm Andy Panfill, Chief Adventure Officer for Fierce Planet Adventures and licensed Unbeatable Mind Coach.
And I am Casey Panfill, Chief Creative Officer for Fierce Planet Adventures and Unbeatable Mind Coach in Training.
Hey everyone, I'm Robin Dannies, also known as Charming Guru across the socials. Hey guys, what's up?
Nice. Today, Robin's joining us to just have a brief discussion about her recently completing the 22 push-ups for 22 days to bring awareness to veteran suicide, which is a very big problem in our country right now. And we just wanted to chat with her about her experience and how that went for her. So I think Casey's going to kick it off with a few questions.
Yeah, so before we dive right into the challenge, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do, activities?
Well, thanks for the question, Casey. As you all know, I go by Robin. And so for my 9 to 5, I'm actually a business analyst / project manager. And I really work in the risk and governance space. But my creative hobbies are really creating video and educating people on how to use cosmetics, what other kind of, what ways can you create. So I love to create videos and yeah.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I love some of your creative work too. Some of the stuff I've seen you put on, especially I believe it was the most recent Halloween post with the cat face. Oh, it was beautifully done too. So just wanted to give you a shout out for that. That looked quite amazing.
Thank
Love
you.
how
Wonderful.
creative. Yeah.
Nice.
So what inspired you to take on the 22 push-ups a day for 22 days challenge?
That's a really great question too. First off, I cannot stand to do push-ups. That's like the one exercise I will pretty much do anything to avoid. Growing up, I could barely execute 2 push-ups. So when I heard that you all were doing the challenge to raise awareness for veterans and suicide, that there were more options than, just raising awareness. That really touched my heart and gripped me. I have a lot of veterans in my family, and so supporting America and the military is something that's really close to my heart. I think that's something that no matter what side of the lines you're on, every American should be gung-ho, the one place that we're all one about. And so I was like, you know what, I could really support that. And when you all nominated me, I was like, oh no, I really have to do push-ups. How am I going to do this? So I would say that the bottom line, the reason I chose to do the challenge is because that's a really scary topic for me. Suicide is such a deep word, and life is so precious regardless of your career or position in life. And so I just thought that, someone who feels that they have to take their life, that's painful. And I wanted to raise awareness to let other people who are experiencing feelings of suicide or thoughts of suicide, hey, you know what, you're not alone. Everybody gets in slumps, and you know what, we're raising our voices and influencing, hey, this is a problem and we need to draw awareness to it. And people who have the ability to move the ball in that court should really pick it up and, slam to or jam it in.
Yeah. Well said, Robin. Very well said. Was the challenge easy for you, or was it a struggle?
You know what? It was the days 1 through 7 was definitely struggle bus. I was like, I wonder if I should quit. No, I can't quit, because personally, I rarely quit things, almost to a fault. And I was like, I can't drop this. If, not only was I posting it for my friends and the followers that we have on social media to see, all the eyes of the world are watching you. So I was like, I don't want to be a quitter. So that was a lot of motivation, just knowing that it was a very public challenge. And then also personally, like I said, I'm not much of a quitter, and almost to a fault, right? Sometimes you have to know when to quit, but this was not one of those scenarios. And I didn't want to stop raising awareness for such a really a worthy cause, right? Like that's another human being. That's somebody on the planet that's more like you than you think, right?
That's great. You know, my philosophy is we're all in this together, and we have to do what we can to support and help each other out. So yeah, that aligns perfectly. So Robin, you're pretty busy, right? You've got a lot going on the social media side, plus you've got your full-time day job.
Yes.
How did you find time to fit the challenge into your day?
So when I first started out on social media, I definitely have a 9 to 5. I absolutely love what I do. It brings a lot of brain balance to my life. Growing up, I've always been this creative kind of bookworm, like let's go paint, let's do arts and crafts. And before I became before I'm in the career that I am now, I was actually a failed entrepreneur. So, and in another creative field, going into Instagram and, you know, taking up more of this social media kind of hobby. It's not really, I wouldn't call it a job yet, but I don't even call my 9 to 5 a job because I love to do it so much. So, I mean, I know that's like wordsmithing, but internally it's what I do. I think work is not a curse, it's a good blessing. So anyhow, full circle back to this, it takes a lot of planning. And so I literally started out on a social media schedule. So I make sure to devote like 9 to 5 working, no nonsense, no distractions. And I really compartmentalize my schedule, and I put work over here. And then once it's done, then I pick up Instagram and YouTube, and I really pre-plan things out after work. I do all video planning, image planning, anything like that. And so I have already, ever since college, I've been working out. First thing I do in the morning after I pray, I work out. And so it really wasn't anything new to me. I would say that I probably gained the COVID 20. I really took a step back from exercising for a while. I just was so busy, so tired, and I just stopped exercising. And when you guys were like, hey, there's the push-up challenge, I don't know, everything just worked together in the natural harmony of life. And that really put me back on the wagon. So it really just worked out.
Nice. So it was a good catalyst to get you back into the workout zone and kept you striving for consistency, it sounds like.
Yes, it really got me back on schedule.
Very nice.
It sounds like you kind of explained a little bit behind what kept you focused, what kept you going, having that why, not just the, you know, being social about it and being out in the public eye, but having that driving motivation of helping support people going through a dark time and, you know, bringing awareness to that. Did you learn anything about yourself while you were doing this? It sounds like you did have a time maybe you wanted to quit, but kept pushing through anyway. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great perspective, or a really wonderful kind of question to ask. In retrospective, the challenge was probably really short to have like a life-changing lesson. But if I did garner any takeaways from it, it was probably, I've actually added push-ups to my routine. It's like, oh, I can do that now. And physically, my body had so many positive changes over time from doing the push-ups. I mean, muscles that I probably never used before were starting to really like tone and lift and do all these things. I was like, okay, I'm not going to quit doing that now. I mean, that was helpful and beneficial. So it was maybe a little bit more a surface message for myself versus a really deep, like psychological message. I do think the challenge had a lot of great life metaphors, things that I already believe and live. I really was able to like retrospect on those beliefs during that challenge. Like, hey, you know, if you really want something, like for example, during the push-up challenge, to complete it, right? To get through it. And to raise awareness. If you really want something, sometimes it's hard. And no matter how hard it is, no matter how painful it is, don't quit. And all through the challenge, you know, in my videos, like, oh my gosh, my arms are burning. This is struggle bus. I mean, life is exactly like that, right? There is never a time in our life that we're not growing and striving and learning. And when you start to take that, I don't consider it pain anymore because I just have a different life perspective nowadays than I used to. When you start seeing those, I wouldn't, I don't know if it's adversity. I don't know what the right vocabulary word is, but when you feel that tension within the natural harmony
It's a
of
great
life,
word. Yeah.
that's the best way I can describe it. When you start feeling those tense moments or that tension, and you know that if you stay on that path, you know, like you're just tugging the rope and you're pulling it until it's tighter, then you know, it just really solidified that belief inside me more that if you really want something, keep going with it. And everything worth having comes as a result of hard work.
Nice. It's a great answer. What does it mean to you to have completed the challenge? After reflection, having done it, raising the awareness, just coming full circle, what does it mean to you to have completed the entire thing?
So some of it feels like really good to know that I did something for someone else. I mean, I really, like, my body gained the benefits of it, but like I told you guys before, before I started this challenge, I avoid push-ups like avoiding public places in COVID, right? Like, whatever you got to do, I am not doing that. And so it was like, okay, I'm so new to this exercise. It really was not about myself. I also pulled in some other bigger voices out there. Like, I ended up tagging the entire cast of SEAL Team. I don't know anyone on the show, but I tagged them all because I watched this show like every week. And they did a special couple of episodes last year where they raised awareness for veteran suicide. And I was like, okay, I'm tagging everyone and challenging everyone in the cast to do it. No one responded to me, but, you know, I'm sure that they saw that message. And so, you know, I'm the kind of person, occasionally I like to bite off more than I can chew, but with more time spent on the journey, you realize like how much is actually too much of a big bite. And even though that was kind of a moonshot idea, you know, like I said, throughout the whole process, it was like anything worth having is part of hard work. You have to, you know, stick to it, don't give up. And a lot of times in business or in our life, we have to take risks, right? And if you want to grow, just knowing those healthy risks to take. You don't win everything. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But yeah, me personally, I would just say it really solidified my beliefs. I may have lost focus on what the question was, but I think that we had touched base on it a little bit in the previous question. And so just kind of recapping that, yeah.
So that was a great answer, Robin. Thank you. So just kind of a recap. Here's what I've heard you say, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is pretty accurate. So it's okay to be uncomfortable, to maybe even to get used to being comfortable with being uncomfortable. You did it for others, so it wasn't just for your own benefit. It was, you took your eyes off of yourself, and you focused them on a greater issue or a larger community of veterans who might be thinking about committing suicide, and bringing awareness to that cause. I also heard you say that, you know, there's a tension and sometimes that tension or friction is exactly what we need to lean into in life. That's where the growth happens, whether it's physical, mental, emotional. Taking stock and recognizing that tension or friction, and that's where we want to put our focus, at least, you know, for the moment. Persistency, so being persistent in working towards your goals, stepping outside of your comfort zone and taking risks, and also that you found out that push-ups really aren't so bad.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Andy. And I could not support you or emphasize enough that repetition in life. Like, I mean, consistently bringing your A game to whatever container in life that you are in, or whatever path you're following, whether you're a pioneer and you're carving your own path, or you're following a path that already exists and maybe doing it better. Maybe you're changing that path in some way. But bringing your A game and consistently being there and consistently delivering daily, I found that no matter what I'm doing, that always brings me like results.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm going to latch on to something that I heard you say almost in passing earlier, but I don't think it was meant to be in passing. And that's your faith. And how big of a role does faith play in your life?
Oh my gosh, my faith in Jesus Christ is the first and foremost. Every day I get up. When I was in college, I really used to get up and do Taibo this morning. And Billy Blanks, I think he's a former military veteran as well, but he used to have this saying, and he would go, "You got to be fit to fight to have a good life." And he would oftentimes reference our Creator. And I really feel like, your body is so special and so unique, and we really need to treat it like that. And part of taking care of yourself is part of being successful. It kind of starts internally. And so I pray every morning. I want to get my mind right so that I can get up and be fit to fight through the days of life. Oftentimes, there's famous books that refer to life as kind of like a concrete jungle. I live in the big city nowadays, and to me, I want to be very mentally fit to get up and fight my way through the concrete jungle of life. It's a lot less fighting. I don't like to use references that include like violence, but life is not, my attitude may come across sometimes as Pollyanna, but I'm very aware that, life is full of battle is such, to me, that's such an extreme word, but sometimes it can be a battle, or life is full of different adversities. And so being mentally prepared is, in my opinion, if you're not in a good place mentally, it's very hard to get in a good place physically.
Yeah, it's really amazing how the two are interconnected. And I think a lot of people don't quite understand that is, having a clear mind and being able to function well mentally at work or at home or with your family or your friends, it really starts with taking care of your body, physical exercise, nutrition, sleep hygiene. And I also don't want to discount something that you said too. You get up every morning and you pray. And so I don't know if you call it such, but we do something very similar, and we call it our morning ritual, where we get up and we go through a number of steps to win in our minds to prepare our minds for the day, and to make sure that we come out on top and win. So it's a very powerful exercise, and there's a lot of different adaptations or ways that people can tweak it to fit their lifestyle. But that's essentially what I hear you saying that you're doing.
Yes, and Casey, you're probably very familiar with Grandpa Edge. I'm sure you have heard a few references to how important your mind is. I know when I was in college and I would come home and I would just go knock on Grandma and Grandpa's door, and I'd be like, "Grandpa, I'm having such a hard time right now. I feel like everybody's being mean to me." And he's like, "Well, honey, you can't, your mind is really where the battle takes place." And he would, and just to give you some context, Andy, Grandpa was a drill sergeant in the military. So when he was like, grinding and teaching other soldiers to really prepare themselves for the battle, so Grandpa would always tell me, you can't let them get to your mind. And so waking up every day and taking care of your mind, spiritually, mentally, physically, these are all like the basic foundation blocks for being able to go out and consistently perform every day. Like, You know, we're not actors on a stage, but you could definitely pull in that vocabulary word to describe it, like our performance, right? Like if we were a machine, or, you know, I work in an engineering field, so performance for me means consistently producing results. Like how are we performing over time, right? So yeah.
Great story. Thanks for sharing that. I had not heard that. That's great. Well, before we let you go, where can our listeners find out more about you and what you do online?
Well, you guys can find me on the socials, across the socials, really search me for Charming Guru, all one word. You can find out more about what I do on YouTube or Instagram. There's like a couple lines in the bio, and that's really where you can find me.
That's great. And we were talking earlier, and you had mentioned TikTok, a platform that we're not currently utilizing, but it sounds like it's just blowing up for you there. So that's great.
Yes, thank you.
Was there anything that you wanted to add, include in this that we didn't ask or mention?
No, I really think that the questions that you all asked were so amazing, especially Casey, the question that you asked about, did you really learn a life lesson from this? Or, you know, what was the message that you got from experiencing the challenge, right?
Yeah.
That was really a beautiful question. I think, you know, there were a couple of days where, you know, I couldn't even really say the word suicide online, just because some of my viewers, I feel like, are really young. And I think some of my viewers are probably alone. A lot of them don't have children. They may not have a lot of family. And so for me, you know, I just left a lot of that, hey, this is for suicide out. And I think that some part of me wishes I would have said that more, but it was such a shocking term, and I think people don't really understand the seriousness of what we're saying, right? Like how heavy that is, because you don't see dead people in your waking life, and you also don't see images and pictures of people who have committed this, right? This act. And so it's really a painful topic, and if I didn't convey enough sensitivity to it, that would be really great, because it's so serious, and it really should, you know, it really is a heavy topic. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. We will definitely include that. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking a few minutes to chat with us. Very appreciative.
my pleasure.
Very, very grateful. Yeah, and just phenomenal